Hello, I'm Odin, and today I'm going to make the largest accessory for the full suit Gundam cosplay. It's the shield for the RX-78-2 Gundam. The shield is the first piece of the Gundam that I don't have a computer model for. With this build, I'll need to work from scans of the instructions and measurements off of the 1/144 scale model. After a while, I noticed the scale of the model was easy to work with.
13, okay.
Because I was increasing the scale to cosplay size and not life size, so 2 millimeters on the model would be 1 inch on my build. I'll start with the inside of the shield. This back plate is flat on the model, so it'll be easy to draw my pattern right onto the plastic. This plastic sheet is foamed PVC. It's often called Sintra. It's easy to cut, which is really nice. And it didn't take too long before I got the back plate fully cut out.
Good.
I continued to cut out the viewport, and I drew all the different details that are needed on this back plate.
So these scribe lines need to go in, up and down the bottom, however many that is. Right now I'm doing the outline of this piece.
Right.
I could do the outlines of where these pieces go. And the other stuff we can figure out once the sides are on.
I finished marking where everything needs to go and measuring how big each of the panels are so that they can be cut out. And then I used a panel line scriber to mark the 40 pairs of lines that run inside the track for the shield handle. So I put a lot of work into drawing up where I think all the details need to go on this shield on both sides. In addition to drawing all this stuff up, I spent the better part of a day cutting out pretty much all the parts that I need, I think. There's a lot of this is just surface detail that goes on this side. It's panel lines and stuff. And then I've got a lot of triangle parts that are going to go on the back side that are actually going to be physical support for the wet the foam that I want to use for a final skin. I'll start on the support side of the piece. I added a layer to the track for the handle and then a piece that becomes the bottom of the track. All of these are supports for the skin that'll be on the front of the shield, and they're going to keep the shield from flexing. See, the shield needs to be rigid, right, and look like a piece of armor. There's a viewport on the top of the shield, and I want to add the box for that shape now, because guessing where it needs to fit later is going to be much more difficult. I put in a piece of clear acrylic plastic, but I leave the blue protective film on it, because I can always peel it out later after everything is painted. I let the glue set for an hour, and then I flip it over and I start to add the details on the side that we're actually going to see. 2 layers of 1/4 inch Sintra will make up the sides of the track for the handle. And this little end was a difficult piece to cut because it zigzags a lot. Making both layers match was not easy. Cutting the ends for each of these pieces on a 45-degree angle, that was very easy because I didn't actually cut it. I just set up a guide on my 12-inch disc sander and then erased them. It was easy. I also have the other big detail panel made, and I glue it in place. Since Sintra is a PVC plastic, the glue that I'm using is just PVC pipe glue from a hardware store. For the front panel, I made a foam core mock-up first. I needed to be sure it would fit before I cut my only piece of what the foam. Skylar from Cosplay Apprentice gifted me a sheet of his heavy-duty EVA foam, and this is the only big sheet I have of 6mm what the foam. Now I can't buy another sheet this big, so I need to be sure that my cuts are right and that it's going to fit. This is why I fully draw the pattern out again directly on the foam and not just trace the lines off the foam core mock-up. What I really want is as few seams as possible on the front. The plan is to use my router attachment on my Dremel and then route out a V-groove, but not cut all the way through the foam. The idea is that all of these V-grooves, well, those are lines that can just fold, but it'll still be a continuous piece of foam on the front, no seam lines. I'll also need to cut 2 V-grooves down the sides. I will have to cut it here, but when it folds up, they'll glue together much cleaner. With all the V-grooves cut in, I can cut down the shield front to just what I want. It's much easier to route the grooves before I cut the part down. Now to draw on all the panel lines that go on the front of the shield, and there are a lot of them. Some are for color separation, others are just decorative, and it takes a while to get them all on an equal placement. And after they're drawn on, I can start actually making the panel lines. I use the shading point on my wood burner and a metal straight edge to replace all the black ink lines with recessed burnt panel lines that also look black on video. I add strips of floor mat foam to the support ribs. I don't want to just trust the 1/8" plastic edges to hold the front of the shield on. Remove the viewport from the front panel, and you can see the center line is still drawn on the inside. So I made the center line more visible on the support piece, and then marked where the glue needed to go on the front panel. The viewport has to fit over that box, and the marked center lines means I can get the front panel on correctly. I just need help seeing it. Pieces of paper keeps the two parts from sticking before I want them to. And I had a lot of stress getting the viewport incorrect and having a single piece front panel glued on just right. And it's nice that it worked.
Well, there we go.
There's the center line, there's the center line. Is that all right?
Pretty good.
That's what I was kind of hoping for.
I add some small angled pieces of foam to each side and then glue the side darts together. I glue in a second layer of wet the foam all the way around the edges. Now this makes them stronger and keeps those edges very straight. I trim the inside with a thick layer of HD foam. This both covers the gap between the two main parts and adds even more structure to the sides. Just a few details are left. There's a series of small ribs to glue on the inside, and on the front I add some 2mm panels along the edge and make up those two raised boxes. And then there's the raised star detail that goes in the lower half, and this completes the shield. But I still need to make a handle for this thing. The handle on the shield is basically a set of boxes, and because my handle is also structural, I'm going to make it from the thicker 1/4" Sintra plastic. It is going to support the weight of the whole shield. And the mechanism is 3 parts. One box is where the handle attaches, the middle section fits into the track that's on the shield, and the third box, well, that attaches to the forearm of the Gundam. At least it attaches this way on Gunpla. Connecting to the arm is more secure than the model's grip. Now there's a plate that connects the arm to the shield, and I build most of it in cosplay scale. But I leave the tab off that actually makes the connection, because I think Joe's arm is going to be in the way inside of the suit's arm if I tried to make it. The grip itself is 1" PVC pipe and 3 layers of Sintra plastic. On a Real Grade RX-78 Gunpla, there's only one side on this grip, but I made 2 sides because my cosplay scaled shield is going to be somewhat heavier than a Real Grade shield. Another piece of 1" PVC will be the grip for Joe to hold on to. Now I can glue all the boxes together. The arm connector plate is not glued in place yet, and I'm going to wait before I secure the handle, because I need Joe to try it. That way I can get the best angle before I permanently glue it in place. And that little gray thing in the middle there, that's the actual model piece I was using for all of my measurements. When all the glue is set, I talked to Joe about handle placement, and the connector plate can actually spin, so we need to figure out how it needs to sit. The grip length matches the model, but it's still long enough that it clears the arm of the suit, so I can just secure the grip at a 90-degree angle and it's going to be good. Joe wants to paint it, and I'm happy to let him do it. So the foam is primed with Plasti Dip, and the PVC has normal spray primer. Joe masks off the different colors and spray paints the entire shield. There's 5 different colors, so there's a lot of masking, and it takes most of a day to paint it. But when it's done, we can peel the protective film off the viewport, paint in the panel lines, and then finally add in some custom-made water slide decals, and apply the custom vinyl cut decals. We figure out the best placement for the grip on the track, and then glue it in place. Most of the materials I used are available for order, and you can have them shipped right to you. I put a list and some links in the description.
So what's interesting about the shield for the Gundam, the way the handle's designed is actually really ideal for Gunpla,
But to build it accurately, it's really weird for a costume. The center of the gravity is way down here when it should be a bit higher, so it's pretty hard for Joe to hold on to. Shield's got some weight to it too. So we're probably going to do a modification in the future. He might get a special arm made just to hold the shield, so he takes off his entire left arm and puts on a whole new one. Or maybe there's some other type of strap that's going to go on to help hold it up so he can actually wear it around at a con, because that's the ultimate plan, is to wear it at a con. But for right now, we got a cosplay sized shield for a full suit Gundam. And this, I'm really excited about this. I'm really happy with how this turned out. This was not an easy build, which is really funny. It's the shield. All I gotta do is make the shield. Yeah, all I gotta do is make the shield. With all the angles, nothing on this is straight. This was not easy to get to be as accurate as we got it. But, you know, that's okay. You wanna know why? Because this is how Odin makes. So what you're telling me is Gundam isn't an August cosplay? No, okay. Oh yeah, that's stupid. Which, you know, I kind of thought it would be, but
Right.
I mean, my hand's a little too big too, but still, it's, yeah.
It's hard.
I always thought it was weird, even with Gunpla, the handle would be so low on the shield.
Right.
That's
Well,
just,
that's why there's the mount.
that's why there's the mount for the arm.
Right.
Right, because ultimately too is, well, you can't argue too much, why are they humanoid robots in space? But anyway, because it's a cartoon, Odin.
Right.
All right. I want to thank Geek Pride, Mickey Bunya Preacha, and all of my Patreon supporters. My Patreon support is the #1 thing that makes this show possible. If you like the video, don't forget to subscribe. Have an idea for something for me to make? Please leave a comment below. And if you make any of these projects, you can send me a picture.
Okay, I'm done.
Okay.